We do know Madeleine Rivera. She is live now with the latest out of D.C. Maddie.
Good morning, Todd and Carly. President Trump is closely watching the protests in Iran, so much so that he's set to meet with administration officials tomorrow to talk about next steps. The president, who has promised to respond forcefully if Iran resorts to mass violence, suggests the country is close to crossing his red line. The human rights activists' news agency says at least 500 people have now been killed.
These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it. And we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up. But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called, they want to negotiate.
The Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. options are not limited to just military strikes. Officials are also expected to consider boosting anti-government sources online, deploying secretive cyber weapons against Iranian military and civilian sites, and placing more sanctions on the regime. So far, the Pentagon has not moved any forces in preparation for military strikes, which could be necessary in case Iran does retaliate against U.S. troops in the region. Iran says U.S. military bases, ships, and other assets will be considered potential targets. But Al Jazeera reports this morning, per Iran's foreign minister, internet could be restored soon as the country tries to project control over the situation. Connectivity would reportedly be restored to embassies and government ministries. Carly and Todd.
All right, Madeleine Rivera, live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you. Let's bring in former Deputy National Security Advisor and Heritage Foundation Vice President Victoria Coates. Victoria, good morning. It's great to see you. Let's start with this latest information that Maddie just mentioned about what Iran's foreign minister is saying today, that protests in the country are actually, quote, under control, and they are now working to restore internet access across Iran. Are you buying that?
Well, good morning, Carly. Good to be with you. No, not at all. I mean, this is the third week of protests. This is the most sustained protests we've seen in Iran since 1979. This is in no way under control. But the problem that the mullahs have is every day they have the internet shut down, costs them billions of dollars. That essentially shuts down their economy. So eventually they have to start turning it back on, or else they're simply going to run out of money. So this is more on them than it is some kind of acknowledgement that they're in control of the country. I think what we need is more sustained pressure. President Trump has done more for these protesters than any American president in history already, and he's prepared to do more.
So when you say sustained pressure, that begs the question, what does come next? Here's the president on that. Listen.
Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. And they won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
The president speaking there in generalities. We'd like you to address the question with some specifics if you can. What should the president do, and when should he do it?
Well, he'll have a range of options, Todd, but what he's demonstrated with the action against Nicolas Maduro is we have capabilities the mullahs in Tehran can't even imagine, and they know that. And what's more is we have a partner in the region that can also reach out and touch them anytime. That's Israel. And so we have this range, as I said, of options that can be implemented against leadership. We have additional technological options that we can use to get internet access into the protesters if they continue to shut down the internet. So we are going to look at that range. But what's also really critical about the president's options is he has already demonstrated that he will use them. The B-2 bomber strike in June showed that he will use kinetic American force. Now, at the same time, he's saying, I will negotiate. If they want to talk, he'll talk. But if they refuse to come to the table and stop this horrible persecution of the free Iranian people, then he's going to strike them, and they know that.
You know, Victoria, one of the things that I was wondering about, the fact that we know that the president is meeting with top officials tomorrow and some of the options that are on the table, that's all been publicly reported. What do you think about that being made public? A lot of people will learn about this with deep interest, but does the public reporting on this undermine what the administration can do moving forward?
No, I don't think so, Carly. I think what it does is it signals to the Iranian regime that they're very serious. Now, what they discuss in that meeting will rightly remain secret, and that's as it should be. But for the regime to know that the American administration is meeting all of the senior people, all the people, I might add, who planned the Maduro operation, are getting together and discussing these options, that's a big warning to them that they should stop this crackdown. They should start to look at liberalization, ways that they can give the Iranian people their freedom, give them a voice in their government, or else something much stronger is coming.
From Iran to Cuba, President Trump says the administration is talking with Cuba, hopes to strike a deal. That said, Cuban leadership remaining defiant, saying we are a sovereign nation, don't mess with us, we will fight till the last drop of blood. What does a deal with Cuba potentially look like? Because, again, maybe this is the jingoistic Todd in me, but it seems like we have all of the leverage here, and we can basically get Cuba to do whatever we want. Your thoughts, Victoria?
We definitely should. Now, President Diaz-Canel, the post-Castro president of Cuba, is no improvement on the Castros. He is also communist. He's also bitterly anti-American. And bear in mind, Todd, this is 90 miles off the shores of Florida. So this is much, much more proximate to the United States. This has been a horrible problem since the late 50s for the United States. So the fact that we could actually make a change in Cuba is a huge deal. It's very important to a lot of Americans that this situation turned from being a horrible enemy of the United States to potentially a great friend. So the economic situation there is horrific. They've just lost their great patron in the form of Venezuela. So this is a time when I think we can really reach out to the people of Cuba, and the American community, the Cuban American community, can do so much to help them. And this should not be a huge, heavy lift to get the island into a much better place, get rid of the scourge of communism, and again, as I said, turn them into a friend of the United States.
Yeah, and if you're a Cuban leader, learn from Maduro, learn from Soleimani. If the president says, take a deal, make a deal, you better take that deal and negotiate. Victoria Coates live for us this morning. We thank you. We appreciate your time as always.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.